And I wanted to capture not crypto people, but real world gamers, people who play games like Horizon Forbidden West and Red Dead Redemption, the cutting edge games, because that's what's going to get the attention from mainstream gamers.
Hi, welcome to this live interview with Arab Market Cap. A very exclusive interview today with Illuvium co-founder and art director of Illuvium is with us today on an exclusive AMA to answer everything you need to know about Illuvium. Welcome, Grant. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm going amazing. I think you were meant to have Kieran on the AMA, but he's had a power outage, so he can't make it, unfortunately.
I'm very surprised how dedicated you guys are. You told me that you guys are running and working in shifts, right? So you don't sleep unless you're totally tired.
Yeah, it's kind of because we have done this fully remote, we've ended up with a team of over 200 people. And when you're doing it remotely, we've ended up with people from about 37 different countries. So the sleep schedule, you have to be available for people in every time zone on the planet except Antarctica, wow. Which maybe at some point we'll get some people from there, but not yet.
That's very exciting.
But yeah, we're all working very hard. Everyone on the team. That's kind of what we've become known for, how quickly we've been able to put together something of substance in this space, which is typically a lot smaller. The projects are a lot smaller and the scope of targets are a lot smaller.
So I've seen the market cap for Illuvium. It's not very big compared to other games. So like ambition wise, do you guys have, where do you see Illuvium in 2 years?
Definitely being the number one blockchain game, but that was never our actual focus. When we first started, Kieran came to me because he'd been trading crypto with advice from our oldest brother, Kane. So our oldest brother, Kane, owns Synthetics, another crypto project that was wildly successful. And he got Kieran into trading and was like, you need to be involved in crypto. This is definitely the space to be. And Kieran started trading before I'd gotten involved with crypto, or our other brother, Aaron, who's the other co-founder. And it very quickly snowballed because Kieran came across Axie Infinity and the play to earn model and thought this is like it was a eureka moment for him. Like, we need to tap into this. This is something where it was so early, but could revolutionize like Web 2.0 did. So for the last year and a half, we've been trying to build out something that isn't just a small crypto project, but that's like a world-class gaming studio and not focus on the crypto side. Like it seems like because we're so early, it's like there's crypto games and then normal games, and people pigeonhole them separately. But we always saw ourselves as going straight to being a AAA studio and bypassing all the crypto, because there's not really much competition in the crypto space for gaming on this level. In fact, there's a few projects that have started, but very long development to make AAA games, and we just feel like we're super early, and we wanted to make sure that we did what Facebook or MySpace did early on. It's like take a new technology and just go 0 to 100 with it, and then hopefully we end up with a product that everyone really loves. But that was the goal, not to be the number one crypto game, but to be the number one game studio in the world.
And how long have you been doing this for so far?
We're a year and a half in now.
Wow.
Which is quite crazy because most AAA games have a development cycle of 3 to 5 years. And we would have loved to have done that as well. We would have loved to have just been reserved and said, all right, we'll do what every other AAA game studio is doing. But there were a few things in play that allowed us to do things wildly different from other studios. And one of those was being able to incentivize the team. So it's like, from the outside, people thought we were crazy because we're saying we're going to complete something way faster than other studios. But I've been an artist for the last 20 years, and I can tell you that an unmotivated artist will work way, way slower than someone who's just loving their job and loves doing it, not just for the quality of the product, but also because they're incentivized and they're actually getting paid what they deserve. So we, through the crypto token, through the ILV token, gave those out to team members and said they're only worth $1 now, but if this game's a success, they might be worth $20, $50, $100, and then that bonus now, which is relatively standard, becomes insane. And we joined this space super early and got to ride the bull run up to that crazy hype level with play to earn. And so 90% of our team was like, holy shit, like we're rich, like from this crypto project. No, they can't. The team tokens are locked up until June this year. Okay. And, we can get into some of the things that make this project different from other game studios, like the governance model.
I'm very excited about what you said about working for the last 20 years in art. I think that's very exciting. Can you tell us a little bit more about your function in Illuvium and what you do?
So I'm the art director on the project, and it was my job to build out the art team to be a world-class studio while simultaneously creating a vision for what the game would look like and play like. And it's kind of visual signature, like what type of graphic design do we go with? What type of trailer style do we go with for the trailers we've done? So I've had to be on top of all of that. But the thing that made me slightly different from other people who've been CGI artists or whatnot is I've done it for so long that I've one by one gravitated towards different career fields within the CGI space. So I know a vast majority of the entire pipeline that our team is working on. So all the way from the texture artists to the modelers to the shaders or the level designers or the sound designers. Throughout my career, I've had experience with all of that stuff. And so I know what a good artist is in a lot of fields. And that's one of the reasons why we have such an amazing team, because we've had the budget to hire them. And also we're doing things that I know are fun for artists to do.
Tell us about the budget. That's very interesting. How do you have the budget? Who are you funded by, or did you get any seed round? Or
Yep, we did a pre-seed round, and which was a small raise just to get the ball rolling. Okay. And then we did our seed round, and which Kieran and our CFO Danny did. Successfully hit the target, which was $5 million USD, where we sold the tokens at $3 each. So pre-seed was $1, seed was $3, and this is where a lot of people don't realize, but Kieran's very good at raising money, but even if you have the world's best pitch deck and you're a good salesman, the type of target we had was so crazy and over the top that we needed help from our oldest brother, Kane, who has a vast network of high net worth individuals in the space, other crypto entrepreneurs, and basically just pointed us in the direction of venture capitalist firms and private, one friends of his that were like, just go into this project. My brother's trying to be a lunatic in the crypto space and just see what happens. But
so you sold the token at $3, and today, from looking at the chart, it's worth $530. So
yes,
how long ago was that? Just a year and a half ago?
A year and a half ago. Wow. Yeah, March 30th was our balance of sale. So after that, we did the public raise, and that's where I think we raised. Don't quote me exactly on this, but it was about 42 million. So with the seed, pre-seed, and the balance of sale we did, it was about 47 million USD budget for the project. And in AAA terms, that's not over the top crazy, but in crypto terms, it's just outrageous.
Yeah, and is the game launched right now? So all of this raising, developing the project, is it launched? Can we play it?
No, you can't play the game yet, but we're imminently close to doing our private beta test with 500 people, with a group of either early investors, people with high spec machines who through the application process were relevant. But the other exciting thing we have is professional players from similar games that we're trying to onboard. Part of the game model for us is making a successful esport, And so we're just like desperately trying to get things ready for private beta. And we've had a few delays, obviously, with the community. We're a bit behind, but because we're building this on crypto, security is a massive, massive thing. And it seems like, every time you get really, really close to the finish line, some security issue comes up, or you have to make tweaks to make sure that the players' accounts are more secure. And so that's been the primary cause of delays. But that, we think, is coming out this week. And shortly after that, we'll run that beta test and get feedback. Shortly after that, we'll release a private beta 2, which focuses on the overworld. So for the people watching who don't know what our game is, the fundamentals of our game, it's essentially 2 games mixed into one. It's an auto battler similar to Teamfight Tactics, which is a round-based fighting game where you have to strategically place characters on your board to defeat the enemy's team using synergies and classes that work well or not so well against the other team. And the other component to that is like, where do you actually get your team from? In games like Teamfight Tactics, you just have the characters and you just have to strategically use them. We wanted to tie in more of the Pokemon element and the collectability element that NFTs allow, so that players were more closely tied in with their team itself. So instead of just being given the team, you have to go out into our overworld on this alien planet and capture those characters one by one, and either to play more competitively in the esports scene, or just purely for the collectability side and having the NFT side where you're sharing openly on a marketplace and you own those assets. So we tried to tie both together.
Yeah, and what we will do is we will run a little bit trailer while you're speaking, so people can see the game itself.
Yes.
It's very, very exciting to mention all of this. I'm kind of interested in, since the game is not launched and it's still in beta. So do you guys have any fair launch? Because in most games, what happens is that there's a couple of individuals, whales or so on, that take most of the tokens. They have the capability to do that, and then they dump it, and then the game kind of crashes. So how does Illuvium do it differently?
0 whitelists for anything. Everyone goes in day one into the open beta where we launch the marketplace perfectly even. That was something that day one, Kieran was like, put his foot down and said, no whitelist. So no, there won't be a single person. He's been attempted to have been bribed by many people to try and, can you tell me secrets about the game or whatnot? Because, we think this is going to be huge. But as brothers, we've all gone into this as brothers, and we're all hyper competitive. And growing up, if any one of us attempted to cheat or do anything, they were getting cracked in the head. So we have to keep
him in check.
Be fair. Everyone's fair. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire or you've got $1. Day one, everyone's going into the overworld completely even, and we'll see what happens. I think it's crazy that other projects don't do that. You see projects just selling stuff, and it just seems so cheap and sellouty to me to just just make something cool and let the community determine the value or the willingness to invest in it. Don't promise something. And
you're doing something different in terms of the staking I've never seen before. In terms of the profit, you're giving 100% of. So can you tell us a little bit about this? The current roadmap is that you guys are open for staking V2, and we have a separate video for that, by the way. I'm going to link to it above, so people can go ahead and look through the process of staking. But you're doing staking in a different way. Could you just give us a highlight of the profit margins and so on, the yield?
Yeah, so it was a very simple concept that I thought was genius and revolutionary, and it's something that a few of our pre-seeds and seeds came up with just through brainstorming and just seeing what would make play to earn a better model. And somehow at the end of that process, the team came up with the Tokenomics Model that gave 100% of the revenue distribution back to the stakeholders. So if you theoretically owned 10% of all ILV in circulation and you staked that, you would be receiving 10% of every single fee in the game that we have. And there are multiple sources. And like, I see you've got like a smile on your face. I had the same thing when I heard it, because I was like, why?
Very
Like, it's so wildly different from a company like Blizzard, where you have a very small number of shareholders, and then they have their board meeting, and then like maybe they're getting a percent of the revenue, and it just seems so like backwards, you know? It just seems like, why don't other projects do this?
And the ecosystem of Illuvium. So can you tell us about the tokens? Because you were mentioning ILV, but I know there is a different token, because I myself invested in ILV, and then when I'm reading through your website and so on, I see that in-game you have a different token.
Yes.
Why is that?
We wanted to, we have there's two key points to Illuvium, and that was most in the tokenomics. That was the revenue distribution and the governance model. We needed to make sure that the community was governing the way the game went, right? So as a DAO, they're trusting us to make a cool game, and everyone's hyped for it. And because we're not released, it's very hard to go in and make and request changes from the development side. But at the end of the day, it's totally possible for everyone who holds ILV to vote on who gets into our council. I think every 3 to 4 months, we have a new council elected, and anyone who holds ILV can write a IIP, which is a form of, it's just like, I want to change something in either the tokenomics or the game. And if the council votes yes on that, we do it. So there's no top down, we control everything. And we needed to separate purchasing stuff in game from the ILV token so that players had the right to vote.
All right. So you guys built also a voting system inside of the game. And this is, I mean, is open for everyone. Is it like the elections of my country, for example, is like always corrupt and so on? Nobody could see inside of it. How can I, as Ali today, go in and see who voted on what, and you know, the transparency of the operation?
Yes, it's all on the blockchain. Wow. So yes, everything's open, and the voting system relies on quadratic voting. So if I own 100 times more tokens than someone else, I don't have 100 times the voting power as someone else. Yeah. And also, like, it was also a wildly, you know, creative thing that got me involved in the project early on, where I was like, I don't want to just, I've been an artist my whole life. Like, there's got to be something different and exciting to like pull you in. And I have played many games throughout my life, and one thing or a few small things just break the entire game. They've got this amazing product, and then they just decide to do something that just ruins it. And you can't change that. And it's so frustrating to have a product or something that's so close to being good that you can't change. And so when the tokenomics were being invented, I was like, this sounds perfect. Like, I only voted in the very first election just to see how it worked. Since then, I haven't voted. And obviously, as founders, we have a lot of voting power, but like, you know, the quadratic effect comes in. But I'm just happy to sit back and go, let's see what happens. Like, let's see. And yeah, let's see what the community does. And there's been a few IIPs put through now that are quite wild, you know, that don't even work in our favor. Like, originally we got the tokens, the locked ILV tokens that we have as founders, and the community was like, how do we know this isn't a rug pull? How do we know that we can trust these people not to just rake all the tokens out? So an IIP was put through to extend our lockup for an additional 2 years, and we were just like instantaneously like, yeah, like, we're not trying. This isn't a short-term project for us. And in hindsight, we probably should have had a longer lockup. And so when that IIP was put through, instantaneously passed, and the community was like, whoa, like, that only affected the founders negatively.
Yeah. The people that work the hardest.
The people that work the hardest, right? And we thought, like, sweet, like, that's exactly why I came on the project. If we make the game and we get 6 months in and something's happening in the game that's breaking it, And I like it. I like, as an art director, I'm like, no, I put that in there because I want that. And someone from the community, doesn't matter who it is who owns ILV, goes, that sucks, I want to change it, and writes the IIP and it passes. That's it. Tough luck for me. I don't have a say over that.
Very cool governmental model. Can we move on into the art of the game?
Yeah.
So like, I know
That's
that is your specific area, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us about like the characters of the game? Just give us a rundown of how the art of the game is designed and how it works.
So from the very, very start, Kieran and I have been like massive Pokemon fans from childhood. And that's where the overworld and the collectability side of the game comes in. Our other brother, Aaron, has handled the auto battle side. That's what he loves. But we wanted the collectability. And the NFT space started on collectability. And it's like, it was a rehash of physical collecting for the first time. Like, people finally felt like they could collect digital assets. So from the very start, we were like, we want to recreate that feeling that Pokemon gave us as kids in the digital space, if that's even possible. Like, no one's successfully made something collectible as a digital asset. Not like Pokemon, you know, not like where everyone wants it and feels like they own it. And so we have 150 alluvials in the game. These are the creatures that live on this planet, and all of them are based on extinct or near extinct animals. And we have our head concept artist, Roger Vanderbeek. He's a freak genius concept artist. And early on, we did ideation meetings on how to create these characters. And the goal was just, how do we make characters collectible for an audience that used to love Pokemon? The 10-year-olds, the 12-year-olds who are now 30 and 40 years old, who aren't into the little fluffy kid stuff and want something for adults. Like, how do we make Pokemon for adults and tie it into a successful esport? And the art had to reflect that. And so typically in my career, I like photorealism. I like trying to make stuff look as real as possible. But there's never been a collectible in the world that looks realistic. Like, no one likes that. Everyone who likes collectibles typically likes stylized and simple and easy to absorb characters and designs. And so everything in our game has been designed to be not fully stylized like Pokemon, or not fully realistic, but like meet halfway and get some weird mix of the two.
So I have a question about that, because the way you're mentioning it, it sounds like it's very hefty. It needs a lot of high spec in order to run this. But I know that most, like our follower base at least, they use their phones to play games, and this is kind of becoming the norm nowadays. Will Illuvium even work on the mobile phones if you want to target this audience, let's say?
Definitely not for launch. Our game is currently PC and Mac only. And the reason for that is I noticed in the crypto space, there was no projects trying to do things the scope we're doing. And I wanted to capture not crypto people, but real world gamers, people who play games like Horizon Forbidden West and Red Dead Redemption, you know, the cutting edge games, because that's what's going to get the attention from mainstream gamers. If we release a game like Axie Infinity, which is like a average mobile phone game compared to these AAA games, it's not going to capture the mentality. You're not going to see IGN articles saying first crypto game goes mainstream. You know, you've got to go beyond that. But also, we are definitely going to be converting the game for mobile as soon as possible. You know, we have a very large team, but it's going to require an additional team to make the mobile version. And so that's once the main game is out, that would become our overwhelming #1 focus. Get it on mobile and make it so that more people can play it. But
makes sense.
Luckily, if you know game dev, there's subtleties to the way you create assets and textures that make it easy to do conversions later on. And we have one of the best art teams in the world, bar none. If you see any of the stuff we're leaking, it's very easy to back that up. And it's like, what we're doing is ridiculous. But
it looks beautiful. Yeah.
Every asset has been polished and done in a way where once we have a mobile team, they can take those high quality assets, reduce them until they're performant on mobile, reduce the texture size, polygon resolution, and we should be good to go. Nothing is, because we're not doing photorealism, it's a little stylized. We take back that extra layer of detail that is not possible on mobile. So it's going to be a much easier process to convert than if we had a first-person shooter or a different type of game with different graphics. But yeah, so we all very cool impatient to get the mobile game out.
I'm very excited for that, and it kind of falls into the same path as other big AAA games, like I don't know, like let's say Call of Duty or PUBG, or they always launch on the computer first or on console, and then they become so popular that people want to play them on their portable devices, and then, you get the game there. So it's
unfortunately we can't go from 0 to 500 people in a year, but we've got a very aggressive development schedule, and like I said at the start, everyone on this team is highly motivated. Like absolutely every last person has that let's do something different mentality. Like let's actually make this a passion project. And
so the characters you mentioned, you said was it 150?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of secret ones and stuff like that, but Pokemon, the first gen set, was 150 characters. And Kieran and I were like, why diverge from that? It's just a good enough number where it's already been proven that people can remember every last one of them, and not too much where you don't feel attached to any specific one.
Right, and it's easy to remember. I myself, I used to play Dota 2, and that is like above, I don't know how many heroes, maybe more than 100, and then after that you kind of lose track, right? So I find it a very nice number, and you need,
But the other thing is too, like it's not 150 completely unique random characters. There's 50 base sets, and each character has 3 stages like Pokemon. So it'll go through stage 1, 2, and 3, where stage 1 is the cute baby, stage 2 is like the teenager, and stage 3 is like the god tier, holy shit, you need it. And every character was designed to have the really cute base and then flow through to and that also ties in to the tokenomics model we have. One thing that we have that's really, I think, another just never before, like it just makes things super cool, is that we have that deflationary burn mechanic where to go get a stage 2 character, you have to burn 3 stage 1 characters. Okay. And then to get a stage 3, you have to burn 3 stage 2 characters. So it results in 9 stage 1s and 3 stage 2s being burned to create a stage 3. So like unlike Axie, where the Axie can't die, in our system, as people are trading and trying to build up their teams, a large number of the weaker characters are getting burned off and creating rarity in the ecosystem. But we also have a bonding curve on the characters so that eventually you can't find them in the overworld. So what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to find them in the overworld, and more people as time goes on are going to want those higher tier characters, and they're going to start burning the weaker ones to get those high tiers. And it's going to create what we hope, who knows, it's a live market that hasn't been tested, but the idea was that all of these characters, as time goes on, become rarer and rarer, even the weak ones. You might hold on to the weak one for 4 years, and it's like so few people have that they want to get a stage 3, that it's just really hard to find, and that will increase and that also means for the stage 2s as well.
And Grant, in terms of those characters, or what do you call them in your own language? Illuvitars?
Alluvials.
Yeah.
Illuvitars are the in-game profile pictures you have. So it's just a play on your in-game avatar. Okay. So everyone has their rank, which is represented by a badge around their avatar. And Kieran wanted to tap into the NFT market, which is just going crazy, by giving people a customized way of creating their own in-game avatar. And we're just about to release a trailer for this.
how do you customize a character? Like, is it skins or is it how does it work?
The Illuvatars are fully customizable in that you mint a base NFT and then have a whole range of different cosmetics and accessories that you can put over the top of that character. So you can get eventually, like I think it's like up to 5 different accessories added on to your Illuvatar. Things like pipes coming out of their mouth and chains and stuff. Just little things that are subtle tie-ins to our game lore and the sci-fi side of things that make your character profile picture unique.
It's such a big game, and it's so fun that we're going into the details, and I just hear myself just like want to know more details because it's very exciting. But just a question: when is this in the beta? Will we be able to mint those characters?
So what we're trying to do right now, is we're trying to find the quickest way we can get the game in players' hands. And we've been doing live streams for the last few weeks now, showing people the game, playing the game. We have our community manager in Discord sharing gameplay. We're not hiding the game in a sense, but it's very hard to release it without certain security features in place when people are connecting a wallet to their account. We've just got to be locked off. But what we are going to do, and Kieran and I and Aaron spoke about this the other day, is get a version of the game in people's hands that the market won't be live. You're not going to be able to do all of the complex things in the open game, but at least people will be able to play our auto battler, learn the characters, learn the synergies, and it buys us a little bit of time where the community is cool.
In an agile way, so you just
staggering where we can. And luckily, because the project is quite complex and there's many different components to it, it's not, one thing isn't completely reliant on the other. We don't have to launch everything at the exact same time for people to test and play our game. So that the goal is, as soon as we get one last game mechanic in that my other brother Aaron wants to put in, we're going to release a demo that's open, which originally we weren't going to do. We were going to do like a second private beta with more people, and we just scrapped that and said, as soon as this first beta is done and we implement the fixes or whatever are required from that, the next step is just get the open demo in people's hands, because we're proud of what we've done. We're streaming and people are excited and watching us get hyped about our own game, but there's nothing that's going to excite me like seeing the community playing this game. And for the first year, I was a little bit terrified of like, holy shit, how are we going to do this? And how are we going to make something actually enjoyable for people? It's easy to pitch it and easy to just talk shit and say it's going to be amazing, but to see it in people's hands, that's what I'm really excited for. And I feel like after all the internal testing we've done, we've really, really got a good product. And I just want to sit back on YouTube every night and watch people's videos on it and Twitch streams and stuff. So nice. That's the goal.
Very exciting.
Yeah, we're very exciting for us. Where things are heating up right now.
So in terms of the roadmap right now, I get a very good sense of it now. So we talked about staking. We talked about the characters. And I know there's also something you guys have, which is also different. I've never seen it in any games before, which is the EA concept and the land sale. So I don't know if the EA mechanic is going to be launched very soon, but I know that you guys have plans to do that. EA Sports, sorry, or esports.
Oh, it's esports.
Yeah, sorry. Esports. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there was a couple of things like there's so many different things on this project. It's like, how do you market this game? How do you make this game seem like
number one
in like for the crypto reasons? So we have in our treasury a large amount of ILV that we will distribute to in-game players through rewards for achieving certain tasks in the game or for winning in tournaments. And our plan, and we have the budget to do this, is to start out with our first World Championships as the largest esports prize in history, right? Like certain games, I think Dota at one point was number one. It had a prize pool of like $30 million for one of the tournaments. And it's just like, 5 years ago, you never would have thought that. We have like at one point, I think we had $1 billion of ILV in our treasury, USD value to give out to players as rewards and esports prizes. So imagine what happens when we launch our first World Championships from an unknown studio on crypto, but the prize is bigger than the World Championships in Dota, which took them years to get there. Wow. That, to me, is like, whoa, like, that's going to be crazy.
But it's kind of mind-bending, to be honest.
Yeah.
the amount you're speaking about.
That's purely for the esports side, but the land sale is a different system where we have a overworld in our game and the auto battler. And in the auto battler, you need certain things like armor, weapons, augments, and those have to be built from ingredients and items that you mine in the overworld. So you go into the overworld and you mine resources, minerals, and plants to try and find elements that can make up items that will complete your team. So there's quite a bit of complexity in that, and we didn't want people who don't have a PC or a Mac to just miss out completely. So rather than leave all that tied into the online marketplace, we're obviously going to have an online marketplace where you can share and sell those resources openly. But if it was just a website where you traded that, there's not really any fun to that. And most people aren't going to sit on a computer and do that. So we wanted to make a mobile game, which was like a city builder game that allowed you to purchase land that generates certain resources and then build out a city, a functioning city that helps distribute those elements and resources that you're mining to the marketplace itself. So you invest in a block of land. We have different tiers of land, and each one of those tiers has more types of different resource plots on it that you can build on top of and build your city out from, with the end goal being that we have a fully circular economy where people are playing on their mobiles, generating resources for the players that are playing on the PC, and vice versa. Those people on the PC are building out teams of characters and stuff that they want to trade to other players. And a large part of it, because it's so complex, like we don't know how a lot of this is going to go, but
I've heard thought out rumors that you're like trying to take this land sale concept and maybe using it in different games in the futures. Is that just a rumor?
I can't speak on that. Yeah. There's certain things that I'm too busy doing the art stuff to be fully in depth with. But everything that I've seen so far, like every time I explain this to a friend or to someone interested in the project, they're like, you guys have thought of everything. And it's because we just sat there for months at the very start of this going like, what is the perfect play to earn model? At least in our eyes, play to earn exists now. It's very, very infant. There's clearly a lot of problems with it. And there has to be what would happen in 10 years? Like eventually MySpace gets overtaken by Facebook. Facebook gets overtaken by Instagram. Different things come along that just solve certain problems. And we had a lot of very smart people in the crypto space, the creative space, just come together and try and how do we make this work? How do we make it unified in a way where everyone has a piece of it? Everyone feels like they're a part of that economy, whether they're on their mobile phone, on their PC, are they playing competitively as an esports player, or are they just happy to sit there and grind and generate resources for players who are playing competitively?
So
if you're selling,
this land sale, is it out right now, or can I buy a piece of land? No.
Not yet. There's, once again, back-end infrastructure where we're just we had a hack issue a few months ago.
Correct.
That was quite catastrophic, and even though we handled that well, it really was a wake-up call for us to put security as the number one focus. So we would have had land sale out by 2-3 months ago, but if you release a land sale and it's not secure, everyone loses. So we're just very tentatively polishing everything on the back end and trying to make this something that goes off without a hitch. And typically with our community, You know, they get a little bit impatient as we're close to things, or if we go over a deadline. But every time we drop stuff, people seem to really like it. Like staking V2 took a while, but eventually we dropped it and people loved it straight out of the bay. You know, straight out of the
So
gate.
about staking V2. So since, you know, we kind of get an idea of the roadmap now of that there will be a land sale, and then there will be the land is producing all of these things that you have to have in the game.
Yes.
Will you also be using SLV to purchase land, or do you have to use Illuvium or Ethereum? Which currency would you, or which token would you need to have in order to purchase land in the game?
I think you can purchase with both.
Both.
I think you can purchase with both. Yes.
Okay.
I might be wrong on that.
Let's
who
see
knows?
when it comes out.
I think, yeah. Well, had Kieran been on the call, but like I said to you earlier, there's certain things that I've not put my focus onto. But from memory, you should be able to purchase with both.
Okay.
With ILV or SILV.
That's very exciting. I'm looking forward for the game to be launched, and we will be following it up day by day, event by event on this channel. So we have our own playlist for Illuvium, and then we have our own section on our website for Illuvium. We will also be supporting the Arabic community in Discord. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free. We're going to put the links for the Telegram, for the Discord, everything below this video, so people can go in. And I don't know, Grant, are you on that Discord as well? If somebody has a question for you, this is how we reached out to you. Actually, we just got into Discord.
in the Illuvium Discord.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm deep in that. I'm in 200 chats every day on that Discord.
I can imagine how your time flies. It must be very exciting, at the same time very tiring.
We are absolutely loving everything about it. The crypto space evolves so quickly that sometimes, in typical projects that might take 3 or 4 years, you can go through such long ups and downs in life and personal stuff. Crypto's so fast, where it's just every day you're just getting bombarded with new crazy stuff, and seeing what our team is producing is, to me, a life, it's like a dream of mine. All of my brothers and I wanted to create a game studio, and now we're smack in the middle of it, and in crypto as well. And it's just, everything's going really, really good. You know,
we wish you the best of luck with that. We're really excited about what you're doing, and we'll hopefully get the other brothers in an interview on the coming months and weeks. And we wish you the best of luck with everything. Thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it, and you have given us great information and in-depth details about the game. Thank you so much, Grant.
No worries. Thank you so much.